Is Brandon Ayuk going to be traded? I got Nick. I got Steph. Let's get into it. Before we get into today's video, make sure you guys drop a like, comment, subscribe. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another live stream. I am joined with, of course, Nick, and then we got a special guest, Steph Sanchez. Steph, what's up?
What's going on? Thanks for having me back.
No problem. Nick, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. Always love talking Niners, so let's get into it.
Well, there was an update, I think it was like 10, 20 minutes ago, about Brock Purdy's contract that the 49ers have offered him $45 million. Nick, I'll go to you first. What's your thoughts on this? Because personally, if he was to take this deal, I would love it, but I don't think he will. But what was your initial reaction on this?
I mean, like how negotiations usually always goes is like whoever's starting is going to low ball. Like the Niners are going to low ball, and then Brock's obviously going to go high ball. And then they usually find somewhere in the middle. I've been saying all along, I think it's going to be somewhere like 48 to 55, somewhere in that range is what I think is going to happen. But I don't know. It's just with Lynch's comments at the combine and then to now being 45, I'm getting this weird vibe that they're going to continuously lowball him, and we're going to end up like the same last three negotiations that have happened, where just some sort of bad blood ends up coming out on the other side of it. And I don't know. We'll see.
Steph, what about you?
I was actually starting to get that sense as well, Nick, like when some of the reports about, the 49ers can't spend too much money and all this stuff, which is really not true when it comes to the salary cap. Jed may not want to pay too much out of his own pockets, but that's completely separate from the cap, right? But the fact that they're putting these things out there and you're hearing it over and over and you're hearing this, there's no guarantees we get something done. I think that signaled that, okay, they're going to play the same games that they always do with these negotiations. They're going to play hardball. They're going to, remind you the leverage that they have over you. You have 1 year left on your contract, then you could get tagged twice. So I think, they're using those reminders, but if what La Canfora is saying that they offered $45 million as the starting offer, that's respectable. I don't think that's a low ball offer that we usually see the 49ers do. Like usually we hear about those first offers being like disrespectful. I don't find that $45 million APY to be disrespectful. Of course, like, in negotiations, you never take the first offer. I think they're going to keep chipping away at it. But even still, like it makes me feel good that at least it's not a disrespectful offer. It seems like they're being generous. And to me, it means that, they're not trying to have this go on too long, but also they're letting them know, like, we're not going to make you like the highest paid quarterback in NFL.
Well, I feel like Steph, I feel like we do that all the time though. I feel like we lowballed Ayuk and then we were saying, Ayuk, we'll give you 25, and then Ayuk's like, no, I want 30, and then right at the end we're like, okay, Ayuk, we'll give you 30, whatever you want. I don't want to, because we can't do that with Purdy. We can't, because he's gonna want a lot. So Nick,
I mean,
I don't know.
The difference is though with that is it's not like we lowballed Ayuk because of the timing of it. Does that make sense?
No, but I get that. But if that happens with Purdy too, like let's say Purdy, this whole Purdy situation,
but they're starting earlier with Purdy. They're starting earlier with Purdy.
I get that.
The difference was they didn't start with Ayuk until after a bunch of other receivers had gotten paid, like Amon-Ra, Justin Jefferson. Like they waited for all these guys. They were going to go higher than Ayuk anyways. They waited for all of them to get paid, and then they were like, okay, what about 24, 25? Because Ayuk said if they would have offered him 25 when it started, he would have taken it. So it
I
wasn't
understand
the
that.
problem wasn't lowballing. It was the problem was lowballing when they did it. If they would have started earlier, they had the right offer.
I still think though, for me, even if we lowballed Ayuk early, I still think he would have done the same thing. Purdy and Ayuk are different people, but I don't know. I feel like, yeah, I just hope that doesn't happen again because I feel like with the Niners, it happens a lot of the time. We first negotiations, it's good, and then creeps closer to the season, and then Purdy's gonna get a $60 million deal, and we're gonna be like, oh well, our quarterback's making 60 million freaking dollars. But I like 45. If we can stay around 45, 50, that's the best. That's the most I would want to give Purdy. What about you guys? Nick, what's the most you would give Purdy if you had to?
I wouldn't go $1.55.
See, I think 55 is still too much.
Over 55, but I do think that's still too much. That's why I've been saying it's somewhere in the I think it's going to be 48.5 to 55, somewhere in there. I could see 52.5, probably something in that one.
Steph, what's the most you'd give Brock Purdy?
I could see 53, 54, 54 just to get him above the Tua number. I think that's fair. If Tua could get 53, I think Purdy can ask for a little bit more than that.
What's Lawrence at? Do you know off the top
of your head? Lawrence is at 55.
55, yeah.
Like that. See,
but
it sucks because
he also has a team-friendly deal, though. It's not necessarily in his best interest, I guess. They have outs in that deal.
That's the only bad part about this Purdy contract. That's the bad part about this whole Purdy contract is there's guys like Tua, guys like Lawrence that have these big time contracts, and Purdy's done more than both of those guys. So it's kind of you kind of gotta pay him more than both of those guys because you feel obligated to. Lawrence has done absolutely nothing in his career. Tua goes to the playoffs and he can't play in the snow. So it's I don't know. I have no clue. But this whole Purdy contract, we're gonna see what's gonna happen next. Let's talk about the man that got traded to the Washington Commanders, Deebo Samuel. Steph, I haven't asked you this question yet because I haven't seen you in a while. What's been your whole thought on this whole Deebo process of him, first of all, wearing the Eagles jersey, then him going on the podcast saying he wants to be with the Broncos? It's been a mess, to be honest. It's been annoying, but what's been your whole thought on this whole Deebo process and now him officially going to the Washington Commanders for a 5th round pick?
Yeah, as far as the Eagles jersey, that didn't bother me at all. I mean, he's just wearing AJ Brown's jersey, which is his friend who's in the Super Bowl. I mean, I get it. Yeah, I took nothing of that. But yeah, as far as him requesting the trade, I actually saw it as a blessing in disguise because I'm not sure that Kyle Shanahan would have come to that decision, right? I feel like maybe there were others internally that felt like it was time to move on from Deebo, but ultimately it had to come down to Kyle and what Kyle wanted to do. And almost with Deebo requesting the trade, it took that part out of it because it's Kyle kind of had to accept it. He didn't need to, but I think, out of respect to Deebo and also all the other, how this year went, I think Kyle was probably yeah, it's probably time for us to part ways. I think it made sense for all sides. And I think the writing was on the wall, just based on where he's at in his career, based on, how much he was costing this team relative to the production he was putting on the field. And then also the offense that they're running now with Brock Purdy is just different. You don't need to depend on yards after the catch and dink and dunk and intermediate stuff over the middle to, Deebo that could take it 20 plus yards after that, right? That used to be the entire offense, right? We don't need that anymore.
No,
you can have more of a drop back game with Brock. He's doing that, which is why you don't see, or you weren't seeing Deebo get the ball. Deebo's also aging. He gets hurt every season. So there's multiple reasons why I think it was time for both sides to just kind of, part ways.
Nick, what about you? I mean, Nick, we've talked about it a lot. I know you're kind of tired of talking about Deebo Samuel.
Yeah.
It's been a lot. He's been a lot this season. What's been your whole thought on this? Did you like the trade? Because I saw a lot of people talking about they didn't like how we only traded him for a 5th. I saw some people saying that it was a steal. Like Steph said, I thought it was a win-win kind of situation. We get a 5th round pick.
Yeah.
And for Washington, it's going to be a good Deebo Samuel or it's going to be the Deebo Samuel that we saw this year, which he had 670 yards. But Nick, How did you feel about Deebo Samuel going to the Washington Commanders?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a good trade. A lot of people were saying like 5th, 6th round pick, if anything, and if not, we were going to cut him. And then to top it off, it isn't just like Washington's 5th round pick; it's New Orleans, like from Washington. So it's going to be an early 5th round pick. So call it a late 4th. I like the value. I think it's a win-win for both sides. I'm excited to see Deebo with Jaden Daniels. And to Steph's point, yeah, like he just wasn't fitting our offense. Like it got to the point to where he was getting force fed by Kyle to try and get catches and yards, and it started to look ugly. It really did. So,
it did.
Yeah, I'm glad it's over with.
I have some do you like for both of you guys? We'll go Steph first. Steph, do you think he's gonna thrive in Washington, or do you think he's gonna be kind of the same Deebo like he was here?
I was asked this question like from a Commanders content creator before the trade even happened, and I was pretty honest. Like I said, like as long as he's healthy, and he goes to an offense that can maximize his skill set, which I think as it stands right now, like the Commanders run an offense that I think would be favorable to what Deebo does best, right? And if I'm not mistaken, I think Jaden Daniels had one of the, I don't know if it was like lowest yards per target or like most yards or most targets over the middle, but it was something where I'm like, yeah, like Deebo would definitely fit in with that offense. You also have, McLaurin in there who can help stretch the field and create space. So that's good. I think, yeah, there is opportunity for Deebo to have a resurgence there, but it's going to be on him to stay healthy. And again, he's a year older. He's going to be motivated, so they'll have that. But like, I don't think the 49ers are afraid of Deebo at all. I mean, they let him go to a team in the conference. Like, so they're, that tells you anything. So yeah, I wish the best for him. I don't, like I said, it could be a win-win-win for all sides involved.
Yeah. Nick, what about you? Do you think Deebo's going to thrive in Washington, or do you think he's going to have a season like he did this year?
I think he's going to play well.
Okay.
I think it'll be better, I should say. I don't know about like if it's ever going to look like the same old Deebo. But I think he's going to play well. I mean, you have Scary Terry on the outside. Like he's a great player. I would imagine that they're going to draft a wide receiver and another tight end. With Ertz getting older, and I don't even know if he's still on contract. And they have Ben Sanat, I think is his name. He's a good player, but I imagine they target a wide receiver and a tight end in the draft that can learn from, both Terry and Deebo. But yeah, I think Deebo's going to have a good year. As long as he can stay healthy, to Steph's point, as long as he can stay healthy. And I do think, I said this before he got traded, I do think that whatever team he went to, he was going to be motivated because it's a fresh start. He doesn't really have the PTSD of the lost Super Bowls, fans are in Washington. It seems like to me are welcoming him, whether that's on Twitter or Instagram. Like they're all stoked. Whereas like Niner fans, it started to get to the point where it's very split. Like there's still fans that love Deebo, love what he had done, obviously in a Niners uniform. But there's a lot of fans that started to hate Deebo. So I think he's excited for a fresh start, man.
I think that too. I think the fresh start's good for him. I don't know if I can say that he's going to, I don't know. It's hard to say right now. After the first 5 games, then get back to me. For right now, I don't know. Like the perfect example, the game against the Rams, we forced him the ball and he still ended up with like 20 some yards, had that crucial drop that was going to lead to a touchdown. Like, I just don't know if I can see Deebo thriving. Well, yeah, I think he's going to be motivated. Today, I don't know if it was true, but someone tweeted today that he was 250 pounds and then Deebo quote tweeted it saying that he was 225. So I think he's definitely got to take care of himself. I think he will be motivated though, since he's going to a new team. It's just hard to say right now if I think Deebo's going to be close to what he was. Like I'm saying, if Deebo has a good year this year, I think he's like 700, 800 yards. That's what I'm giving Deebo.
Yeah, and that's good. I think using the word like thrive was almost too strong of a word. And
Yes. Yeah.
we'll never see the 2021 version of Debo
No.
ever again.
Ever.
Like that was an
No.
anomaly. And to your point, like he is pretty inconsistent, right? I think
Yes.
in the
That's one
last
thing
couple
too.
years, super inconsistent.
That's one thing too. Yeah, I mean, for me, watching Debo, it was either one game he's getting 100 yards, and then the next game he's getting 12. He was very. I actually, it's a great point. He's very very inconsistent. But now that we're talking about Debo getting traded, there's rumors that Ayuk will be traded. What is your guys' initial thoughts on this? Right when I saw this, I was like, "Okay, what are the Niners doing? We just signed him to a $30 million deal. He's making top 10 wide receiver money, which when he signed the deal, he was a top 10 wide receiver. I would have probably put him like 8 on that list. But now we're looking to get rid of him. Nick, do you think the Niners will trade Ayuk? And if we do, where do you think he's going? Because, dude, I did not expect this to happen. I mean, last year I thought we were done with the Ayuk talk, but now it's back and better than ever.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying recently that after Lynch's comments, like I go back to it once again, but after Lynch's comments and then Ayuk getting hurt, I think if they can offload him for a couple day 3 picks, I do think they're going to take that deal. Just because if you're going to reset, like let's get a full reset. Like Ayuk, I mean, and you're like, I love Ayuk. I really do. I thought they should have signed him to that deal. So I'm not saying they messed up or botched it, but when a player gets hurt that bad and I mean, tears 3 different things in your knee, like who knows if he's ever going to be that same player. And it is an expensive deal. So I think if they could offload it for a couple day 3 picks, I would take that deal. And then you package those picks and trade up and get a couple receivers in the draft and basically just try and start over. They have Pearsall, they have Cowan. Cowan needs to see field time. Juwan needs, I've been saying this for a couple days now. Juwan needs to get re-signed. They need to re-sign him for another couple years, lock him up. Like I love Juwan. I mean, you have Kittle. He's one of the best tight end threats in the entire NFL. And I think they're going to target another tight end in the draft. So yeah, I do think that they're going to offload that contract and try and get rid of it and get a fresh start with Brock's contract and maybe Bosa's contract being the only like 2 expensive ones. Yeah,
but Nick, what team would take that contract? He tore his meniscus, ACL,
there's
and MCL.
There's a lot.
No, but I understand that. But if you're a team and you don't think this guy's ever going to be the same again, if I'm a general manager, I'm not even touching Ayuk's contract. He's worth $30 million, and you're getting a guy that just tore his ACL, MCL, and meniscus. And I know, yes, there's teams that are desperate, but it's like, there's no way there's teams that are that desperate.
Dude,
like this guy,
you have to think like this is what I said yesterday. The Raiders, they have obviously Pete. He's older. He's gonna want to get like wins now. Like he doesn't want to wait 4 years to start getting players under his belt that are good players. Like he wants wins now. The Titans, once they traded away AJ Brown, that's the only team as his replacement, and he's never been anything. Like he's been pedestrian, right?
That's the only team I could see.
Then you have the Patriots. The
Patriots to me is the team that
Vrabel first year exactly, and they need somebody to pair with Drake May. Like, why not get a guy like Ayuk who's going to be open? If he's half of what he used to be, he's going to get open. Like he's a great player. The Steelers, I mean, they were poking around and we're going to trade a 1st round pick for him. You're telling me they wouldn't trade a 5th and a 7th or a 4th and a 6th? Like they do that. They really would.
It's true. It is annoying though. Like God, we could have got something way better last year, but we didn't. Steph, what's your whole thought on this Ayuk stuff? It's annoying.
I still think it's a long shot that he gets traded. Because I think they do this like every year. It feels like a month before the draft, they like dangle a player. Like we're listening. Like, and here's the thing. Like, it's not that they're shopping a player. Sometimes it is, but other times it's like we're just listening. But they want people to know that they're listening so that they can get more offers, right? And see what they can get just to see, like, which, that's cool. I don't mind that. I think that's good. That's pretty good practice. But I think also they tend to ask for too much. And then so that's why they never end up actually getting anyone to agree on a trade. And then you have to also factor in like the dead cap hits that they would have to take on. So
I think it would just be this year though. For the dead cap hit, I think it's just 7 mil this year, and then we're off of that contract.
Yeah.
Which that sounds intriguing.
Yeah. I still think it would take a certain amount to get it done, but if they get it, they could probably do it.
What would you do it for, Steph?
A second? I mean, is that too much?
I think a second's too much. Yeah. A lot. I mean, it's
that they could have gotten that last year, right?
Exactly.
It was 100%
for the Steelers. It was. I think I remember the deal. It was like a 2nd round pick and Calvin Austin for Ayuk, and I remember everyone didn't want that, but I think that's what the trade was going to be. Personally, I think if Ayuk's leaving right now, I think he's leaving for the same as Debo. Like I think it's a fifth and
no.
That's what I've heard though. Yeah, no, that's what I've heard.
That's what some people are saying for sure, but I think it's somewhere in the middle of and I could see like
maybe a fourth.
I can see a 4th and a 6th, or somewhere in that range, like a 3rd and a 7th, like something in that. I don't really see it being more, but I don't see it being less than that. Like there's no way to Steph's point, there's no way they're not asking for that and let him go for less than what I just said.
So if they're offered a 6th, do you guys think they're letting him go or no?
Absolutely not. No. Absolutely not.
I don't know,
because that's not worth it.
What I saw, I don't know who it was, but they're like, I think Debo and Ayuk would both get let go. Would you guys do a 5th round?
No.
I would be intrigued.
They're different contracts. Like, and this is what I talked about a couple of days ago. Like Debo's a 1-year rental, realistically, based on his contract. It's 17 mil, 1-year rental. They can choose to re-sign him, and they might have first dibs at that. But he's a 1-year rental. Whereas Ayuk, yes, he's signed already right now. His contract starts this year, so it's a 4-year deal, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have, my point is it's already signed, and I think that when a couple receivers get signed this year or next year, like when Jamar Chase's deal goes into play, I think people are going to look back on it and be like, he's actually not that expensive. Like Ayuk's not that deal's not crazy. Like Jamar Chase might get signed for 40.
Yeah.
Like he really might, right?
Stupid.
And then Higgins got franchise tagged, but after this year, that's 2 years of franchise tags. He's gonna get a deal somewhere, right? So I really think in a year, people are gonna look back and be like, he's a pretty cheap deal. So I could see a lot of teams like wanting that. That's I guess what my point is.
So last point, I'm gonna ask both of you guys. Ayuk gets traded. What team is he going to go to? Just one team, Nick, or actually Steph? Steph, what team is he gonna go to?
I think Patriots would be the most likely of all the teams. Steelers would maybe be a close second just because they've been desperate for any of our receivers. It's kind of sad. But I think the Patriots, they're at a point where they could be aggressive. They have a shit ton of cap space, and they want like a wide receiver 1 that they can pair with Drake May. So I think it'd be a great fit, quite honestly. So that'd be my choice.
And Nick, they're terrible at drafting receivers on top of that.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes. Nick, what about you?
Take that out of the equation. Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I think Steelers, Raiders, Patriots.
Only one team.
Top one. I can see
one team. Name one team, Nick. One.
Then give me the Steelers, dude. They're always poking around at Debo or Ayuk. They've been calling for 4 years, it seems like.
Well, listen, you guys said both of those teams. I'm going to go with the Titans. I said
that earlier, yeah.
I know, but I just have a feeling the Titans, they just they're the most random team ever. Like they'll just pick up Ayuk and his career will sadly go down a drain if he goes there. But that's my prediction. But we're talking about players going to different teams. Now we can talk about free agency. Free agency is next week? Is it next week?
I think they start negotiating, The
12th.
negotiating window opens.
Now, I'm going to ask both of you guys if you guys have any dream free agency pickups. I know the Niners aren't going to – it's not going to be any superstar players. But Nick, who's your free agent? What's your dream free agency for the 49ers?
My dream free agency is keeping it simple. I think they at this point – so – in my perspective, when they decide, like Lynch comes out and says those comments and they're deciding to trade Debo, they're deciding to get rid of other contracts. It sounds like today they started talking about Juice getting a restructure, right? And it's like Juice's cap hit. Yeah, but Juice's cap hit is like 4 million, 5 million. It doesn't really change anything. But it tells me that when you're doing stuff like that, you need to just go all out in it, and you need to get younger and just draft the players. So I don't want to see any Devontae Adams, any 30-plus-year-old receiver. Like, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see anybody getting signed that's old. I want to see young talent and just draft. So if you're going to sign anybody, address the problems of absolute need that you don't think you can address and get a day one starter in the draft. So give me like a Drew Dahlman. That name's been thrown around so many times. And I saw his contract was like 4 years, $60 million. Like, I'd entertain around $15 million a year for Drew Dahlman. I'd entertain it. I don't know if I'd sign that. Maybe try and get him cheaper back to the Bay because he went to Stanford. Who knows? I'd entertain that. If Dre leaves, I've been saying this name for months. Jamie Sherwood. Like, he's going to be cheap. He already has the connection with Saleh. That guy's a freak. He's all around the field. If you're getting 16, 17, 18 tackle games, you're a dog, okay? Put that next to Fred, and they're going to eat. So those are like the two guys that I'll say. I want cheap young guys. If we're talking about wide receiver, say Ayuk's going to be out for so long and they don't feel comfortable drafting a wide receiver in the draft, give me Brandon Cooks. He's productive. He's been on like 12 teams, it seems like. He's always had productivity. Kind of offers something the Niners don't have in a sense of his body type and how he plays. So yeah, give me Brandon
For me,
Cooks.
Nick, I don't know why you don't want Devontae, bro. Like, you're telling me you wouldn't
I
want
love
Devontae?
He's one of my favorite players watching growing up.
I know that, but like, let's say if Devontae wanted to come here for cheap, you're telling me you wouldn't want him?
Yeah,
like, I get he's older.
I'd give him $4 million a year, and he just made 30 last year, so he's not taking anything near that. No.
But I feel like Devontae could be, I don't know, I like Devontae. Teach Pearsall some things.
Dude, but a cheap deal for Devontae is what, 15, 20 mil a year? Like, no, we don't have that, bro. We don't.
But if he wants to win, you come to the Niners, or we go to the Super Bowl and then we lose again. Steph, what about you? Free agency, is there anyone that pokes your interest? I think I said that right. Yes.
Pokes my interest is crazy.
Pokes? No, not pokes. Not pokes.
I'd say Drew Dahlman too.
Piques your interest.
Piques my interest. Drew Dahlman, I think for sure. If they can't get Dahlman, I'll say maybe Ryan Kelly. But I would prefer Dahlman there. I do agree on Jamie Sherwood, and I wouldn't even put it past Saleh to try to bring some other guys as well. You got to think Brant Boyer, the special teams coach, could bring in some depth guys who are like special team aces as well. So keep an eye on that. And they hired a bunch of like new guys to the coaching staff too that may have connections to some guys. I'll have to look into that a little bit more. But yeah, as far as like corner, DJ Reed is intriguing, of course. Like, I think he's going to be one of the top corners available. So
yeah,
that one may not be feasible. And maybe there's still some bad blood with the Niners, not sure, but I'd love for that to happen as well. There's also a safety, I think, on the Jets that was
there's one safety in my mind, but he's on the Chiefs. I don't.
Is it Ashton Davis? I thought he was still under contract. Is it Ashton Davis?
No. He's a free agent. He's a free agent.
Yeah.
He's
Ashton Davis.
So I think that would be great too, because
he's cheap.
I see what you're saying, which get young and all that. But the safety room is super young right now.
Super young, yeah.
Like, they need one veteran at least.
Sean Gibson.
Yeah, that's veteran. He's like double decker veteran. Yeah, he's OG at this point.
Sean.
Yeah,
Sean was a dog, man.
He was. I mean,
he's sick.
He really was. He probably would come back too. Is the crazy part if he still
100%.
I mean, he did at the end of the year after he got suspended. But
yeah.
For me, I think it's Dahlman. That's kind of the only guy I really want. Justin Reed. He's on the Chiefs. He's available, right?
Yeah,
that's someone I would like for safety. I don't know how expensive he'd be.
He's going to be the top safety, I think.
That's what I'm thinking.
Him and Holland are going to be probably neck and neck.
But for the Niners, I think it's just addressing the trenches, like getting a guy like Dahlman. He was like ranked 4th in PFF. He was really good. He's really good. But my dream Nick, you're not gonna like it. I want Devontae Adams, man. Devontae Adams on a cheap deal, man. Like it would be great if Ayuk leaves, you bring in Devontae. We have Devontae, Pearsall, Jennings, Cowing. Like I love that. I don't know. If it's a cheap deal, Nick, I'm not saying sign it to $20 million deal.
What is a cheap deal? Because a cheap deal to Devontae, like I said,
I know,
it's 15 to 20 mil, and it comes with Aaron Rodgers has to like sit on the bench and like get free.
I don't think Devontae's going to go with Aaron. I don't know. I have a feeling. I don't think it's
for sure.
Actually, probably. You know what? No, Devontae's going to sign. Devontae's going to sign a $1 million deal with us.
That'd be insane.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, do that.
That'd be awesome.
Yesterday, if he would take that.
Yeah.
I did see Mayoko, I guess, said that watch out for Robert Woods and Keenan Allen as
Oh yeah, I just saw that too.
I mean, I wouldn't hate that.
I
would again. They need veterans. They need at least one veteran. You got a couple of young guys like Debo's out, so you lose a little bit of veteran captain presence, right?
Yeah,
and it would be at a reasonable price. It'd be at a reasonable price for both of these guys. Keenan Allen had a down year.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather Keenan Allen in that whole deal. I'd rather Keenan Allen.
That's why I said Brandon Cooks earlier, though.
Yeah,
I think Brandon Cooks is going to be better than Robert Woods, cheaper than Keenan Allen, and pretty close to production of Keenan Allen. But yeah,
isn't Brandon Cooks going to retire?
No,
he's not. He's still playing.
No. Yeah. He was on the Cowboys last year, didn't he?
No, I know he's on the Cowboys, but I swear, I'm friends with a Cowboys fan. I thought he told me Brandon Cooks was retiring. I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know. But free agency, we talked about that. Last thing is the NFL draft coming up April 26th. Are you guys excited for the NFL draft? Because I'm super excited. I can't wait for the NFL draft. Who's one player? Actually, who's 3 players you guys want the Niners to draft? Steph, I'll go with you first. We'll go 3 players. You can name more if you want. I'm not saying
is this just at pick 11, or are we talking throughout the whole draft?
You could do pick 11. You could do later round picks. What are you guys thinking?
After the combine, and I had already watched his tape, but after the combine, it just kind of reaffirmed that I think he'd be a legit option. He almost did too well at the combine, where I think now he's probably going to go in the top 10 is Armand Membao. He, to me, I think is the best tackle in the class. He checks all the boxes. If I had it my way, he'd be a Niner because
he does. But I feel like people are hyping him up a little bit too much because he ran a 4.91.
Did you watch him though? Did you watch him? He's a wall.
He moves good.
He
moves
really good. I'm still taking Campbell over him. That's me. I'm still taking Campbell. I know Campbell has shorter arms, but go on. I'm sorry. I had to cut you off there.
I know the shorter arms thing. So I agree. I think that maybe people are blowing it out of proportion.
Way too much.
But if it does end up being a thing, you just wasted an 11th overall pick on a guard. That's worst case scenario with Will Campbell. So that's why as of late I've put Membao.
I understand.
Of him. But some other guys that I like. As far as linebackers go, I'm gonna name more than 3. I'm just telling you right now. I'm gonna cheat. So
it's too hard.
I like Kobe King from Penn State. I just feel like he plays the way that the 49ers look for in linebackers, just super aggressive, target acquired, you just go. Nick Martin as well is really good, and he's really good in coverage. He had one play I watched that he just chased down Xavier Worthy.
Is that the OK State guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's nice. There's a couple. So an offensive lineman that I think we can get maybe later in the draft. Although he is a right tackle, is Chase Lunt out of UConn. He moves so well. I also think he fits exactly what the 49ers would look for. Just someone who's athletic, but can hold his own. And where was it? I forget. He was at one of the all-star games, I think. And he did well there. So Chase Lunt would be another one for me. I also really love Jalen Walker out of Georgia. like
so fast.
people cannot get me to not like him. Like, because I've seen people say like, oh, like he's a jack of two trades and master of neither of them, and I'm like, he's really good at both, actually. Like, if you just the way he gets after the ball, the way he gets after plays, he's aggressive. He's always making. So I was watching Michael Williams yesterday, because I saw someone like mock him to
he's a freak.
the Niners. I wasn't like crazy about Michael Williams. In fact, I was like, who's number 11? And then I was like, oh wait, this Jalen Walker is number 11, because he kept making plays. And I was like, this guy's making more plays than Michael Williams, so give me Jalen Walker. But another edge I really like is Donovan Ezeraku. That I think could you can get him maybe in the early second, late first. I don't know if the Niners could get him, but there's a lot of defensive tackles that I like. Alfred Collins is one of my favorites. From Texas, dude. He's nice.
Sick.
I really like him. Jamari Caldwell from Oregon is another one. Man, there's just I have a lot of guys that I definitely like. Yeah, a lot.
Nick, what about
gone.
Just go on for hours. We're just sitting here just listening to you. Nick, what about you?
There's a lot that I like. To your point, Steph, with Mikael Williams, I think is how you say it. He's very similar to James Pierce in my head. Like, they're both freak athletically. They just they haven't really fine-tuned their like pass rushing skills to where it makes them look really good on the field. But athletically, they're both freaks. I'll just go through it. So running backs, one of my favorite late round picks is Devin Neal out of Kansas. I just love the way he plays football. He's not the biggest guy. He's not the fastest guy, but man, if you watch that guy play, I love how he plays football. I'd also love to see the Niners take a chance on Ollie Gordon, just because he's going to go so late, and he's just been so skilled in college football outside of this last year. So that's another guy. If we're going quarterbacks, I'd love to see them take a chance on Brady Cook if they can in the 6th round out of Missouri. If you look at his stats, like Brandon or Brady Shug or Tyler Shug.
Everyone loves that guy. I mean, I wouldn't mind to take a quarterback, but I don't know.
He's not my favorite. He's got a gunslinger for sure, but I also saw him play at Oregon and he was terrible. And then he transferred to Louisville and he was okay. And now people are hyping him up because he can throw the ball 70 yards. It's like, I don't know. Brady Cook, though, I just think he plays very similar to Brock, so it'd be good to have him learn under Brock. And if for whatever reason Brock gets hurt, you could have somebody come in that plays a very similar play style, so the play calling wouldn't have to change a whole lot. If we're talking a wide receiver, I love Jalen Royals, I think is his name, out of Utah State. Really like him. I also like the guy out of Ole Miss. What's his name? Trey Harris. Yes, Trey Harris. I love Trey Harris. I like the way he plays. My sleeper pick at wide receiver. This is like going to be a 5th, 6th, 7th round guy. I'm not really sure where he's going to land in there because he had a good combine. It's Kyle Williams out of Washington State.
Yes.
I love the way he plays football.
Thank you.
Yeah,
but I've seen people talk about him on Niners Twitter. They're like, don't mention him. That was someone.
I started talking about him because I knew it would piss 49er fans off, but not just because of that, but because he's actually nice.
He's nice.
Good.
I saw the tape. I was like, hey, why does this guy's actually good?
I saw him play in person too, because I'm originally from Washington, so I saw him play in person. And if you're talking about a guy like the main thing is, I don't want the 49ers to replace Debo with an exact, like, specific Debo. Like, that same build, like a Savion Williams. Like, I wouldn't mind Savion. But if you're going after Savion in the 2nd round, I feel like you're just trying to replace him, where I think we need to replace the production. But Kyle Williams gives you speed. He's a fast guy. He ran a 4.4, I think, off the top of my head. If you look at his highlights, he's an after-the-catch demon. He'll catch the ball, and he's gone. He'll break a couple tackles, but he's just quick, and he knows how to move with the football in his hands. So that's my late round draft crush.
Good if we're talking too.
Yeah.
I like
deep
Jimmy
tackles.
Horn.
Yeah.
Jimmy Horn looks good too in that combine. He looked good. I don't think he ran a fast 40, but like he looked really fast.
Yeah. If
I
we're
like
talking
Jimmy Ward,
tackles, I really like obviously Walter Nolan, Derek Harmon out of Oregon. If we could snag him in the second round, I would love that. I also really like late round pick Cameron Jackson out of Florida.
Oh,
The
yeah.
guy's a freak. He's huge. He's massive. If you watch his highlights, he's just going to be stuffing the run 24/7. I love the way he plays. So Cameron Jackson. If we're talking corner, Jade Barron's a freak.
Oh, dude.
I don't think he's gonna fall. I
think he's gonna go in
so.
the 20s. But if the Niners trade back in the first round because they don't find a guy that they fall in love
I would
with,
not
so
be mad at that.
yeah, if they trade back to around 20, Jade Barron, I really love. This is one of Maj's crushes, and I've come to love him. Is Makuba out of Texas?
Yes,
yes.
He's a freak.
I'm telling you
he's
right
a
now,
freak.
whoever drafts that man, he will be a starting safety in the NFL. He will.
And I like him too.
And it would fit perfectly with Mustafa just because he's a great coverage guy, and Mustafa.
And he's a missile.
I feel like Mustafa can be a good coverage guy, but Mustafa's more built to be just an absolute missile.
And Makuba's clutch. Makuba's so clutch.
He's a block.
In the biggest game of our season against Arizona State, we needed an interception. He was there. Like I think I saw like people were saying like a negative part about his game was his hitting, or it was someone that said that. I laughed at that because the guy's just an absolute missile. He's literally
small,
missile.
But he'll take your head off.
That's what I'm saying, Nick. We talked about it before. He's literally Mustafa, but just not built like Mustafa because it's kind of hard to be built like Malik Mustafa. That guy's an beast.
If we're talking about corners, like man, I have
a lot.
There's a lot of good corners in this.
There's a lot.
So I fell in love with two.
Kobe Bryant's good.
Melo Dotson.
I fell in love with two before the draft, and the more and more I watched them throughout the combine and stuff, Melo Dotson and Kobe Bryant, the duo, like I love them. I love how they play. They both offer you differences. But Melo Dotson, man, he's unreal. I love the way how he plays. So that's my corners.
Maxwell Harrison. That's what
we're talking about.
If
we're talking about edges, I do like Shamar Stewart out of A&M. I think Mikael Williams. Yeah, they're gonna be early picks for sure. If we're talking about, I'm trying to think of any late round edges that I really love.
Not late round edge, James Pierce Jr. Nick does not like James Pierce Jr.
No, I don't like James Pierce Jr. But if we're talking about, I think this guy's he was like projected like 5th, 6th round, but now I think he's gonna go probably in the 4th. Is Olufemi Oladejo out of UCLA?
Dude. UCLA, that guy's insane,
man.
He's sick.
I love him.
Yeah,
he's so sick.
He has like crazy confidence, and like
dude,
you see it on the field as well. Like I got to interview him at the Senior Bowl, and sick. I asked him like, is there anyone out here that's like challenging you? And he's like, no, not really. I wouldn't say no. I was like, damn, like he's the only person that's
ice in his veins. Nick, you haven't mentioned one player, which I'm kind of surprised you haven't. Which with all this news coming out about Juszczyk, one guy,
running back. Yeah, we just met with him.
We just met with him. Steph broke the news. That was the first one to see it. There was the interview, and I was like, oh, who broke this news? Steph. But I think, listen, if we get rid of a Juszczyk, I think you can use Cam Skattebo. That guy,
for sure, he's a tank.
Dude, he is insane. First of all, he's a tank. He'll run through anybody. People talk about his speed, but down the field, when he starts picking his legs up, he's fast, dude. He's not slow at all. He can throw the ball. If you need a little trick play, he'll chuck the ball like 40 yards down the field. Yeah. I love him, but I think if you draft a guy like Skattebo and you're in the end zone, you need a touchdown, hand it off to him. That's an automatic touchdown. And with Juszczyk, we pay him that much money. It should be an automatic touchdown, but in the game against the Bills, what happens? We get handed off for the first time in forever, and he fumbles the ball. I was like, really? Juszczyk, we pay you that much money to just bring it into the end zone. It's at like the 2-yard line, 1-yard line. Just bring it in there. But for me, I think if we get rid of Juszczyk, even if we don't get rid of Juszczyk, I'd want Cam Skattebo.
Yeah.
Because I think Jordan Mason, he's gone. Garendo, injury prone. I don't want to say that yet because I really like Garendo. You know, he was kind of injury prone in college. I think I love Cam Skattebo. I think and he's a Niners fan. Like, we got to draft him. We have to.
I think they'll end up bringing in like at least 2 running backs, whether it's
I do too.
Draft one and then get one undrafted, because there's just going to be incredible value. I'm excited.
I could see a 4th and a 7th. both those picks, or a 5th and 7th, both of them getting spent. And I could also see us picking up another one afterwards and just let them compete like we did with Cody Schrader.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But
and you guys haven't talked about, I think if the Niners don't get a guy like
Judkins is
Drew
my
Dalman,
running back.
Judkins is good too.
Yeah.
One guy that you guys haven't talked about, center Jake Majors. I think he's the best center in the draft. And let's say if the Niners don't get Drew Dalman, I think Jake Majors is a great replacement. The guy's an absolute leader.
Yeah.
Great run blocking, great pass blocking. He's elite. Like every time I watch a Texas game, he was the guy in the huddle talking. Like he's a leader. I would love Jake Majors. I love Jake Majors too. He's sick.
My late round offensive lineman, I forgot to mention. This guy's gonna probably be 2nd round. I don't know. He had a good combine, so I don't know if he's gonna slip to the Niners 2nd round. But I've made videos about this guy, Gray Zabel, out of North Dakota.
Yeah.
He's going first. He's probably gonna go bottom.
Early
he played 4 out of 5 positions, and the way he moves, he dominates at all the. It's like it doesn't matter that he's playing in a position. He's like, okay, I'm gonna be on the right side now. I'm on the left side. You're still gonna get pancakes. Like it's impressive.
I'd be scared to draft him though.
Marcus Ware. Marcus Ware. I don't know.
I'd be scared to draft Gray Zabel though. He's from. I don't want to say the school because we all know who went to that school.
yeah.
I don't want to say it.
Yeah, he
don't want to say it.
Team. But the guy out of Montana State, Ware, I really like how he plays. I think he could be a day 1 starter, and you get him at a steal late in our draft.
Well, just last question and bring it up. Who do you guys think the Niners are drafting at 11? Steph. Who are the Niners drafting at 11?
I have no idea right now.
Let's just say Steph. Who would you want the Niners to draft? Let's say Steph is going up to call a pick.
I already said I'd be running.
Steph said Membu.
From
Membu. Okay, but let's say Will Johnson's there. Will Johnson's there.
Yeah. So that's another one. I actually talked with Jay about this one in Bully Ball earlier. I haven't watched Will Johnson, but I'm like, I wouldn't mind him being the pick because I almost wonder if Saleh, like having that like alpha CB1 with Sauce, like kind of just convinced him, okay, like I know what I could do with like a shutdown corner now. I kind of like it. Let's bring in someone. And
I think we need corner depth. We only have Diamondor Lenore, Ronaldo Green, and who else?
They need another guy.
We have no one else. Yeah. So, Nick, who the Niners drafting at 11?
Darrell Luter. But yeah, that combo of them 3 would be unreal to watch. 3 DBs that are just beasts. So I want them to draft. I've said this between like 4 guys, and I wouldn't mind Membu. I would love Will Campbell too. Walter Nolan, and then Will Johnson probably are my top like 4. My hot take of the draft is because of his weight at the combine. I truly I've been saying I think it could happen. Now I actually believe that Mason Graham's going to slip to 11, and the Niners are taking him at 11, and they're going to get blessed.
He could.
Yeah, they could.
That's what I think is going to happen.
For me, if the Niners are looking for an edge, Nick's gonna hate this. I want the Niners to draft James Pierce, man. James Pierce.
I'm gonna break something if they do. I will run through my
dude.
TV.
He's so good. Watch the tape. No. I love James Pierce Jr.
Not with the character concerns. Like
that's the only thing. That's the only thing that I've been seeing. Nick sent me it yesterday, and I was like, yeah, I don't know about that. But if Will Johnson's there, you got to go with Will Johnson. People have compared him to Pat Surtain. And when a guy's like that, when a guy gets compared to a guy like that, and he's right there, you got to pick him without a doubt. But that'll do it for today's stream. We talked about Purdy, Samuel, Ayuk, free agency, and the draft. Steph, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me back on.
Make sure you guys go subscribe to Nick, Steph. Thank you guys so much for watching. I don't know when I'll be live next. Actually, me and Nick will be live tomorrow on Grant's channel.
Yep.
So be there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out.
Peace.